back to East Coast Bucks. This is episode 2. This is a 2020 Virginia bow hunt for one of the Magnum 8s that I was lucky enough to take last year. I had been hunting this particular buck for 3 years. Now, I didn't see this buck at all the prior year, so I thought he had gotten killed. He was a really good buck 2 years before I took him, and so obviously he's fairly mature. He was really mature, actually. I had him at 6 years old. He possibly could have been 5 at the youngest, but he definitely was between 5 and 6 years old. Like I say, he was already a good shooter at 3.5. And let's pick up the action real quick, because there's a lot involved in this hunt, and I'm going to explain it as we go along. One thing I will point out, this was a hunt at the end of October, pre-rut, which is what's going on right now. I like to keep these shows current. That's why I do the commentary right before I release them. And it's real similar to what's going on this year, except with the exception of there's a lot of acorns dropping this year, whereas we didn't have them last year. And if you'll notice in these clips from this hunt, you'll see that these bucks were coming out into this old grown-up field in this low area, and you know, feeding on the grass and bumping the does and doing everything they do in pre-rut time. And this is exactly the perfect example of why I absolutely love this time of year to bow hunt. It's by far my favorite time of year to bow hunt, because you really never know what you're going to see, and they respond to so many different things. And let's jump right into the action, and I'm going to explain it. I'm going to cut in and explain everything that's going on, because there's a lot going on in this episode, trust me. So tune in and get ready to see something that's pretty unique. At least I thought so, and I'll get back to you here in a minute. Alright, so let me cut in real quick and explain what's going on, what you just saw, where we're at in regards to the hunt, the stage of the hunt. So I've set up, there's a front moving in this evening. If you can tell from that video, from the first segment, you'll pick it up through a couple of the segments, but the wind is absolutely howling. I mean, it's blowing 25 with gusts all the way up to 45. You know, a lot of guys won't hunt in those type of conditions, but when it's the right time of year, and you've got a front moving in, I think it was 75 degrees that day, and it was supposed to drop to like low into the 50s for the next day. So this is that evening where it's blowing all that humidity out, all the dry air is pushing in, real strong northwest wind coming in, and that's hammer time for us bow hunters. If you're not out there in the woods during those times, you really are missing out. A lot of people won't hunt during heavy wind like that, and this video is an awesome testament of why you really need to be in the woods if you're after, you know, mature bucks, because it will put them on their feet. They had been kind of inactive the past week prior to this, just because we had such warm temperatures last year. So what's going on is I spotted this buck way across this bottom. He's about 150 yards away. That's why you're going to notice a lot of, you know, the camera's a little shaky. I had to cut a lot of it out. I've videoed this buck for a solid 20 to 25 minutes. That's how long I was watching him. He's a nice 8-pointer, as you see. So I want to explain what I'm doing. If you think, you know, hey, this guy's an idiot, he's blowing that grunt call, he don't know what the hell he's doing. Well, trust me, I know what I'm doing when it comes to grunting, and I've grunted a lot of them in, and I know the grunt call sounds horrible when you're blaring on it like that. But that buck was out there 150 yards away, and I'm doing everything I can to make it as loud as possible to carry in that wind to get to him. And if you'll notice, he picks it up, barely. A lot of times guys think they aren't responding to them in that heavy wind, but we got a deer that's 150 yards away. Sometimes they can't hear it. So I'll blare on it sometimes as you hear. It doesn't sound the greatest, but when they're in the right mood, a lot of times all you need to do is get his attention. Then you hit him with that, you know, then you can shorten it up once you got him coming. He hears that grunt call, and he does have a reaction to it, as you'll see. So I'm going to get back to you here in a minute, and like I say, keep in mind, this buck's 150 yards away. I had to actually free arm the camera, that's why it's wobbling a little bit. So I'm trying to get this, capture this on camera so I can show it to you guys, to show you what's going on. You know, he makes a scrape, and you know, he's posturing a little bit as far as, you know, his stage of where he's at. And if I had some rattling horns with me that evening, I think I could have brought that buck in. But let's carry on and watch the rest of it, and you'll see what happens here, and I'll get back to you here in a minute. Okay, so as you can tell, I'm messing with this buck. I'm playing around with him, throwing everything but the kitchen sink at him. Now, this was a last-minute hunt that I decided to run down and jump in this stand. I cut out of work a little bit early. I wasn't really planning on hunting. As soon as I saw what that weather was going to do, I said, you know, I got to go to that stand. I had hunted this stand, already had it set. I had hunted it a couple days prior to that and just had some does come through. Never even seen a buck. So I'm like, you know what, there's some great big rubs in that area. I know this is a little cut he likes to come through. You can see all that thick stuff where I'm videoing this. That's what they come out of. They bed up real close to the stand. So I knew with that heavy wind cover, I said, you know what, I could sneak right in there real quiet. Even though I was a little late getting in the tree, I was able to sneak right in there, jump up in that stand, get set up. And so I'm sitting there blaring on this grunt call. I'm watching this buck. I'm videoing them from this angle, I'm going around the tree like this, and I'm doing a lot of this free-handed because it's so thick on that side of the tree. If you could tell, I probably couldn't shoot anything with the bow on that side. Remember, that's 150 yards away. And you know, I bow hunt, almost purely bow hunt. I don't hardly hunt with anything else. Muzzleloader occasionally, but mostly 99% of the time I'm bow hunting. So you know, he's over there, I'm messing with him, and I'm blaring on that grunt call. Now, he starts to go back in that back. I said, well, maybe he's going to come around this slough and come to me, because there's some water in between me and him, and it's also real thick. So I said, maybe I'll get lucky. About that time, I'm watching him, and he just disappears out of what you saw in the last clip. I hear something just very faintly off to my left. I do one of these numbers, and all I see is this. Now, you don't see that on the camera because the camera's still focused over there where he's at. And I'm like, well, there's no way that's that buck. He's 150 yards away because it looks similar. And then I see him again. I said, that ain't the same buck. So I immediately grabbed that camera. Now, I got the camera arm all the way on the back side of the tree. I do one of these numbers, swing the camera arm around, grab the bow off the limb behind me, and spin around, and this buck is coming. I mean, when I say he's coming, we'll pick it up where the action starts, and I'll let the video tell the story from here on. Meep. All right, so as you saw, when I say he was coming in fast, I didn't get a whole lot of them. I was actually really lucky to even get the camera on him at all. Got the shot pretty good, couldn't do anything with the zoom, but I just got lucky and left it on wide open. And I mean, he was right there in my lap at 12 yards, if that, probably 10 yards. And you kind of saw how it panned out. Now, he immediately took off to, and I can't remember if I hit the camera with my bow or what happened, but everything just happened so quick. I literally was swinging the camera, stopped it on the swing where I thought he was going to be, drew, shot. So now let's pick it up to where I hit him, and I'm reviewing this camera because, you know, that's a good thing about video, and you can look at it in the stand, and I'm looking, I'm like, man, it looked like a good shot. I'm like, I don't know, but I could see him. He's still getting it going across that field. I say field, but it's really a grown-up field. It's been grown up for a while. And so now I'm sitting in the stand going, man, I don't know. So I wait a half hour, get down out of the tree, find the arrow zipped on through him. He carried it. A lot of times what will happen is that it'll go all the way through these bucks, and a lot of people say, oh, well, the arrow didn't go all the way through. Well, what will happen, you got to remember, an eastern buck, he's not nearly as tall as people think. So when you're shooting out of a tree stand, that arrow blows through him. That arrow will literally, you know, I'm shooting a 31-inch arrow. That arrow will hit in the ground, and the fletching is hanging out of his belly. So that's what happens a lot of the time. The ground actually stops that arrow. I find that a lot lately with the ones I've been shooting out of the tree stand. I'll find dirt on the end of that broadhead where that arrow just blows right through him, hits the top of the dirt, and then he'll drag it a little ways with just the fletching hanging out of him. And so I found the arrow about, I don't know, 5, maybe 10 yards away. Had pretty good blood on him, but had a little bit of stomach matter too. Remember, like I was telling you before in these other videos, when you're shooting down out of a tree stand, everybody says, oh, I even had a guy write in one time. He said, oh, you gut shot that deer. Buddy, if I gut shot that deer, I gut shot every single deer I've ever shot out of a tree stand. Because when you blow through them in the middle, it's going to come out their guts. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've gotten every single one of them that's been hit like that. Now, it does make the tracking job more difficult. I will admit that. And sure, I would have loved to, you know, had that arrow go right through both lungs and come out and blood be all over the place. But this is the real world. This is a real hunting show. This ain't make-believe, and this is how it actually goes down in the woods. And so let's pick it up. I decide I don't find them out there. I don't find them that evening. I don't find them 100 yards away where you're hoping to find them when you drill one. So I get down, I regroup, I get my thoughts together. You know, I've done this a lot of times, but it's hard on every single one of them, especially a nice buck like that. And as they say, when in doubt, back out. Now, I knew it was going to rain that night, but still, you've got to back out on a shot like that. If you don't find them in 100, 150 yards, and not even finding that much blood, especially in a grown-up field like that, all you're going to do is kick him up if he's not hit good, and then you'll probably push him somewhere where you'll never find him. So just back out, keep your head about you, and we're going to pick it up now the next day. I get down there, I'll start doing my circles, because that's all you can do. We don't have blood after rain, and I'll get back to you here in a minute. Well, folks, it's raining on me, so I can't get a whole lot of footage, but I'm not going to do the whole fake walk up that a lot of people do. You know, I've been looking all morning for this deer and I found him, and that's what you call a swamp donkey right there, buddy. Look at the belly on that sucker. Definitely a Magnum 8. My camera's getting soaked, so let me cut this short and see if I can get some protection on my camera here real quick. I just wanted to get how I found them here. Move this whole swamp weeds out of the way. I mean, you're talking about absolute